Hey Horizon West, I'm Lindsay with Horizon West Happenings, and I'm here with my friend Rachel DeSando, who's the Executive Director of SpeechforLife Therapy. And we're going to talk about a really cool topic today, but first I want to give her a chance to introduce herself because what she's doing here in our community is incredible, and I can't wait for you to meet her. So Rachel, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I'm Rachel DeSando. I'm the Executive Director of SpeechforLife, and we are an online speech and occupational therapy company.
It's incredible what you guys are doing in Horizon West, and so many people need your services and might not know it. And the topic that we're going to talk about today is dyslexia. For so many reasons, people misunderstand what dyslexia means, so I'm excited for you to share all of the ins and outs of what this could mean for your child or your family if someone you know might have dyslexia. So first, tell us, what is dyslexia?
Well, that's a great question. It never looks exactly the same in each child. Every child is different, but it's really interesting because it can affect reading fluency or accuracy. It can affect reading comprehension and something called phonological awareness, which is like rhyming skills or figuring out what is the first letter or the first sound in a word, not necessarily the letter, but that all connects to reading and sounding out words, and then also writing as well.
Definitely. And so when you find that maybe if you're a parent and you're noticing a learning gap or you're noticing some of these things, how is it identified? How does a family identify dyslexia? How do you help them with that?
That's a great question. A lot of times families don't realize that there's a problem at first because a lot of the kids, the first symptom is that they're avoiding reading and writing tasks. So when they kind of transition from being read to and then kind of, we know sight words and we have spelling word lists, then they start to really push back. And
it might seem like normal behavior for that age. If it's around kindergarten, first grade,
Exactly.
If you have children who aren't, academically minded or don't love school in general, it might just come off like, oh, they just don't like it.
Right, and there's a high correlation actually with ADHD and also dyslexia.
That's great to know.
And in addition to that, so a lot of families think that it's just an attention thing.
Right.
Or they think because there's actually a really high correlation with speech and language disorders as well, or delays. So if your child was delayed, maybe they had speech as a little one and they really had trouble repeating words back. My favorite one that I hear is caterpillar for caterpillar.
Which we think is so cute as a parent.
Right, and it is, and it's okay to a certain age, but if your child's doing that, that could be a red flag that later there might be some problems with attention, memory, and sequencing, along with those phonological awareness skills, which are the foundation for learning how to read and write. So if you feel like you're teaching them the same sight words,
and you're not getting anywhere.
And they're not getting anywhere. And they're trying to copy the words and all those kind of ways that we learned. The traditional methods don't work for these kids with dyslexia. So if your child isn't responding or isn't progressing with what is going on at school or at home, if you're doing like virtual school or homeschool, you first reach out for a complimentary consultation.
All right.
Yeah, and we start just having this conversation and seeing which one of those areas is kind of the weakest, which one's the strongest. And then from there, we can do a screening if you like. And the screening, it doesn't diagnose dyslexia, but it can tell us
if it's likely.
Right, if we're like at high risk, or if we're not really at risk, it might be something else. That way we can refer you out to another professional.
Okay.
Or sign you up for an evaluation, which is quite another extensive process. But
so you guys are able to have the consultation, the complimentary consultation, and then work with the family to do the screening and then figure out if an evaluation is necessary so that young learner can get the help they need through therapies with you guys.
Exactly.
I love that. So it's all in one place and they get to know you, their child can trust you and feel comfortable, which is a huge thing. When a child is, in my experience with my kids, recognizing or understanding that they might be different in some way, they tend to lose a little bit of self-confidence. So having the familiarity of someone that they know and trust is awesome.
And that's part of we try to start building that relationship with them for progress from the first consultation. And then the evaluation can take like 6 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So that can be very taxing.
That can be taxing for sure.
Parents are so worried it will be traumatic, but we make it fun and we don't call it testing. We call them different games and we have celebration every time we finish one of the activities We can break it up over different sessions if that's best for the child. And then the fun part is the therapy.
That's awesome. And the response to what your therapists and you are doing here in the community is overwhelmingly positive. So I hope that you continue to do all of the great work you're doing. Horizon West, you can reach out for a complimentary consultation to Rachel and her team. We'll make sure you have all of her contact information. And if you have any concerns about dyslexia, she's the expert.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for spending time with us, and we'll see you soon.